Hi, I'm Kalila Reynolds, and welcome to another edition of Taking Stock Live. And guess what? It's our anniversary. We're bringing you all the latest business news and telling you how it will affect you and your money. Now, don't forget to head over to my website, KalilaReynolds.com, once this live has ended, to get my newsletter straight to your inbox twice a week. That's KalilaReynolds.com/newsletter. Now, let me know in the comments, where is everyone joining us from tonight? What part of the country, what part of the world are you watching us from? And of course, all you early birds, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with a friend, and let people know that the show is on. Now, here's what's coming up on tonight's show, followed by what's hot in business. Come on, let's get this money. iCreate has some big news to share, and they're breaking it exclusively on Taking Stock. What could it be? Hint, it's another acquisition. Founder and CEO Tyrone Wilson will join us. And the analysts weigh in on the latest market developments. The lab's Q2 financial results are out. How did they do? The JSC is pushing to raise the junior market cap from $500 to $750 million. Will the Ministry of Finance approve? And U.S. markets rebounded last week, following bear market lows the week before and capping the first weekly advance since May. We'll discuss. But first, here's What's Hot, brought to you by Jamaica Money Market Brokers, your best interest at heart.
Toll fees are going up. Operators of Highway 2000 have proposed new toll fees, which would see motorists paying between 9 and 26% more to use the nation's highways. For the Portmore leg of the highway, the fee for Class 1 vehicles would move from $290 to $340, from $470 to $550 for Class 2, and from $870 to $1,020 for Class 3. For the Spanish Town Toll Plaza, Class 1 vehicles would move from $210 to $240, from $320 to $370 for Class 2, and from $590 to $680 for Class 3. At the Vineyards Toll Plaza, drivers of Class 1 vehicles would be paying $600, up from $550. Class 2 motorists would be paying $90 more, from $810 to $900, and Class 3s up to $1,800 from $1,510. Motorists traveling from Caymanas to Ocho Rios on the north-south leg of the highway would pay $2,130 for Class 1, $4,265 for Class 2, and $6,395 for Class 3. According to the proposal, a discount will be offered to motorists who use the Portmore and Spanish Town toll plazas after their 10th trip. If the proposal is approved by the Ministry of Transport, the increases will take effect on Saturday, July 2. The Jamaica Stock Exchange's newest entrant, Dollar Financial Services, is already making big moves. A week after listing on the junior market of the JSC, Dollar Financial has partnered with RTA Biz Energy Solutions to provide loans for alternative energy solutions for its clients. Through Dollar's Green Energy Loan, RTA clients can access up to 80% financing to buy and install solar panels, solar water heaters, and generators. Customers can also benefit from 24-hour approval and lower processing fees. They will have up to 30 months to repay their loans. Dollar made a big splash before listing on the JSC, attracting over $5 billion in subscriptions for its initial public offer. Investors who applied for shares in Kingston Properties' additional public offering will receive their full allotment. According to the company, the APO, which closed on Friday, June 10, surpassed its original target of $1.5 billion. The offer, which was extended by 4 weeks, received over 2,500 applications and raised $1.552 billion. Speaking on Taking Stock in April, CEO Kevin Richards said the funds will be used to help repay the company's loans and finalize the acquisition of additional properties. More than 60 central banks across the globe have raised interest rates this year as nations grapple with raging inflation. Early this month, the U.S. Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, and the Bank of England announced higher interest rates to stem inflation that is running at its highest rate in decades. But some analysts are saying that central banks pulling the emergency brake could have lasting repercussions on the global economy. CEO of Deutsche Bank, Christian Sewing, says there is a 50-50% chance of a global recession in 2023. According to Sewing, the war in Eastern Europe, now in its fifth month, COVID-19 lockdowns in China, the lingering effects of the pandemic, and rising food prices have contributed to the poor outlook. Deutsche Bank is the latest multinational bank to say an economic contraction is becoming more likely. What's Hot was brought to you by Jamaica Money Market Brokers, your best interest at heart.
This segment of Taking Stock is brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency, insurance made easy, and
download today. Register using your existing NCB online banking login credentials. To open an account or get more info, contact our Wealth Hub today.
welcome back. Now, before we get into the show, let me just say a happy second anniversary to us. Do you know what today is? It's our anniversary. It's our anniversary. Can you believe KRM is 2 years old already? Yeah! So in honor of our anniversary, one lucky person will be chosen at random tonight and given a gift after the main discussion just for being an active commenter. The winner will be announced after the main discussion. So listen up. I may just call your name. Now let me big up all our early viewers. Let me see who we have here in the chat. Where's my chat? Where did my chat go? All right, here we go. Let's see. Who do we have here? Who are our early viewers? Investopedia says straight from Kingston, Jamaica, ready and waiting. Trevor is joining us all the way from Indiana. He says, let's make this money. Hey, Trevor. Jason is ready in St. Catherine, and Kimberly is joining us from Kingston, ready and waiting to make that money. So let's get on with the show. iCreate has been in the news in the past few months. They've had several different announcements, one after the other. The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, recently approved their digital training arm as a business development organization. And then the Institute also acquired a majority stake in e-commerce company GetPaid. And you may remember the company's stock price soared in April, hitting $3. Well, now it's on its way to $4. iCreate ended today up nearly 20%, closing at $3.92. Joining us now to discuss the company's latest achievements and plans, we have founder and CEO Tyrone Wilson. Hi, Tyrone.
Hi, Kalila, how are you?
I'm good. It's great.
Anniversary. I remember
Thank you.
there from day one.
Yes. Viewers, you may remember early on in this show, we were filming at iCreate. So, we linked up with Tyrone and we were able to get several of those episodes done before COVID hit when we were in iCreate studio. So it's good to, now come full circle on our 2-year anniversary and to have you on the show. And you have some news of your own this evening, which we'll get to, because we've been trying to get you for a while. We've been booking, our producer's been calling you, trying to get you on the show, especially since we've had, all these developments. So bring us up to speed about iCreate's big turnaround, because last year, this time, the company wasn't doing so well. And, you've had your ups and downs since your inception in 2018.
Yes. Thanks again. For sure, we've had lots of ups and downs. Since we've listed in 2019, the company has struggled pretty much to find its footing. We had a number of turnovers in terms of our management team, in terms of our board. But we kind of stuck through it, focused on the vision for the company, and then COVID-19 came and it kind of put us in a position where we had to, reposition. But where we are now as a company, I can say is pretty much where we intended to be, where we wanted to be in terms of the initiatives and plans that we had behind the scenes for iCreate. I think it was just pretty much accelerated by COVID-19 pretty much.
Right. So what were some of the things that you did to help turn things around for the company? You actually have had a whole new strategy now.
Yes. Well, when COVID started, some of the first things we did was, as you know, iCreate was one of the first company to kind of put out a notice on the market regarding COVID and our plans. And the first thing we did was went into defense mode, really, where we reduced our expenses, cut our costs, close on our locations, move our classes online, and just pretty much focused on survival. In all of our notices from 2020 moving into early 2021, it was all about keeping costs low, surviving COVID-19 and pivoting. And then, once we saw that there was some stability in terms of our cost and so forth, we started to implement some of the plans we had for the company in terms of, moving to what we describe today as a creative group of companies, a conglomerate, So we reduced our costs, we found new partnerships, and then we started to seek out growth opportunities for the company.
Right. So you at one point, probably last year, had issues with your board of directors. You had, a constant change in directors. Do you have any new members now who we might recognize in terms of, previous leadership roles?
Yeah, I think the last time I came on the show, compared to now, the entire board has changed at iCreate. It's now chaired by Arlene Martin, that has been with us for more than a year. It's probably the longest we've had a chairperson. We have a number of new shareholders now, new directors now. Ivan Carter is the former chief financial officer for Sagicor Group, who is now CEO for Delta Cap. We have Lauren Peart of Blue Dot, Adrian Smith of Equity, as you know, they recently invested in iCreate also. So, we have a very diverse board in terms of age, gender, in terms of experience and so forth. So, very supportive board. They've done a good job in terms of just going through the due diligence of my plans and really supporting it and pushing it forward and giving me all the fuel that I need to accelerate on the plans for iCreate.
I remember a major issue why iCreate kept recording losses was because you had some at-risk payables. So have those been cleared off now?
Well, a number of things that we had. It wasn't even the at-risk payables, but it was just pretty much overall the slow footing in terms of the company reaching where it needed to be, right? And, as the CEO of the company, I expected that. It was something I tried to communicate to our shareholders and so forth. We had a lot of payables, but we also had a lot of receivables. And we have some partnerships that didn't materialize at the time we wanted them to. And as you know, as a publicly listed company, shareholders, they want the returns, rightly so. And, people grew impatient. And, we moved past that. And of course, we're pretty much almost fully debt free in terms of our payables. iCreate has done a good job in terms of, managing those exposures, those risks, paying them down, but at the same time managing the timing of our cash flow. Obviously everybody would have wanted to get paid almost immediately during that time, but we had to manage our receivables, our incoming cash flows and so forth, and we got there. So we're at a very good position now as a company. We have a very healthy balance sheet. Our receivables are a bit higher than we expect them to be, but connected to sure payments from our customers that we have coming in and so forth. So not too worried about that, but we're in a very good position in terms of paying up all our taxes, paying down our liabilities, starting to pay principal on our loans. It's a very, comparing iCreate today to iCreate 2 years ago, it's a new company, Udis, right? It's a very attractive business, and we've seen that in terms of the increases in the share price.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the things that investors need to remember is that iCreate still is a startup company. And when you did your IPO, you were very much a startup company. Now you have a little bit more experience. but
Yes.
you have to weigh the risk with the potential reward. You're investing in a startup. There are going to be ups and downs. It is going to be volatile, and that's to be expected. So I think what you've done with your listing, Tyrone, is help to educate people on what it is like to invest in an early stage company. Now,
Definitely.
yeah. No, you have investments in other things as well. You have Kintyre Holdings and Dequity, which is with Kadeem here as Dollar Financial. So how did all of this strengthen your balance sheet?
So, my investment holding company, Kenter Holdings, were able to access capital, and, through the time for iCreate, the focus is to get some capital in to ensure that the company can pay down its liabilities and find steady water. So we did that in May last year. And then in later down in the year, we were approached by Dequity, who wanted to invest they knew what we were doing, because of our association and so forth. And, we did that private placement, and later down, very quickly we decided that, we don't want to hold this amount of debt. So let us try and convert that for equity. Funny enough, Kalila, it is now reflected. The shares for Dequity and Kenter Holdings are now reflected on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So you would see that the paid up capital has increased on the company's investment page. So that happened actually today. So now Dequity is the second largest shareholder in iCreate, and I believe Kenter Holdings is probably third in terms of our percentage, holding. So Equity made a bold play. They put in 50.5 million when nobody thought about investing in iCreate and so forth. Obviously, I would bet on myself any day, but Equity jumped in. They did that, and they benefited from it. So we're very happy about that. And iCreate is now attracting so much attention from the market and so forth, and it has propelled us to really doing some of the things that we're doing today.
Interesting. So let's look at your first quarter results for 2022. iCreate recorded a net profit of over $10 million for its first quarter for 3 months ending March 31, 2022. And that's a big jump, an increase of over 400%. Because last year, this time around, you made less than $2 million. So a big turnaround. So tell us when you began seeing that major shift in the company's direction and finally started seeing the things that you implemented paying off.
Yeah, if one of the things I've always been big on from the day we listed was greater shareholder communication. We started our earnings calls in, I believe, 2020 or early 2021, right? Where we started to communicate on a quarterly basis via video to our shareholders and so forth, to really guide them on some of the things that we are doing. Because, as mentioned earlier, we're a startup, we're a young company. The market is not used to startup companies listed, right? It's more established companies that have some track record and so forth. So we wanted greater shareholder communication. We got that through the support of the board, a chairperson and so forth. So we started doing that. And if people were tracking some of the things we were saying, at our AGM, at our, quarterly earnings calls, they would have seen that some seeds were being sown very early in the game, and what has happened in Q1 2022 is as a result of some of those things that we've been working on, some of the partnerships that were mentioned in the past, some of the pivoting of the company in terms of bringing on new revenue streams, so GetPaid, or agency arm that we have quietly that we haven't said much about. I've also been putting in earnings in terms of or revenues and so forth. The dollar commercial was shot by us, that was played on your show just now. So
nice.
It's a diverse approach to earning now. As mentioned before, we're now pivoting from just being a school, but to now becoming a creative group of companies.
Let me start taking a few questions from our audience. And I have the first question here from LeVar Henry. And LeVar wants to know, with a recession on the horizon, how is iCreate positioning itself to stay operational? Is your main focus now to clear up some of your debts?
Yeah. Well, we're past worrying about surviving now. I mean, we're thriving. I would say, we've passed the worst by far. The position of the company now and where we're at, in terms of our, cash flows, in terms of our profits, in terms of our revenue growth. We're talking about growth of over 300, 400%, in Q1, and no signs of that from my end slowing down. So, we're very aggressive and bullish this year as a company. We're finding our place in the creative economy. We're taking our space on the stock exchange. We're very bullish about that, very excited about that, and we're still, with that, being very meticulous in terms of some of the things that we're trying to execute as a company. So, obviously there are some concerns about recession. The truth is we've gone through COVID-19, 2 years of it, not just iCreate, but every company on the stock exchange in Jamaica, globally. We've seen recessions before. We've survived and so forth. So, we just have to stay positive and continue to push ahead as a company.
So one of the things that you have been able to benefit from is the DBJ actually approving iCreate as a business development organization, a BDO, your digital training arm. So tell us about that. How did you get the DBJ to sign off on this, and what's the benefit of it for you?
Well, funny enough, I must say that DBJ, they're reviewing this program once more. I think they put out a release where they're trying to fine tune and improve on it and so forth. But since we've started in January, thereabout, we benefited significantly from the voucher program. We've worked with a number of small businesses around digital transformation, whether it is building their websites to support them for e-commerce, abilities to GetPaid, which is one of our acquisitions, or through our agency to creating marketing and promotional plans and content for them, or through mentorship and coaching on the iCreate Institute side, giving them access to a lot of digital tools and resources to really get going on their company and so forth. So it has been a big boost for us, but I would say there are a number of partnerships that we've taken on, like the NCB Level Up. We started that in 2020, we got 8 million in grants. Then it was increased in 2021 to 12 million. And then now it has been increased again to 15 million. So that partnership is going to be training a number of individuals in digital. So we have a number of those partnerships. Also Caribbean Airlines, as you know, digital is the way to go. Grace Kennedy Foundation has launched some scholarships for folks in digital. We're working with a number of companies around digital training, digital transformation, some that I can't mention because of confidentiality, but even the Jamaica Tourist Board, right? Tourism Enhancement Fund. What we're seeing now is that the positioning that we wanted to do from early, we're able to do that. We're able to make that change, and we're seeing the results of it.
I don't know what happened to your audio just now, Tyrone. You kind of just went a little bit low. We can still hear you, but
okay, it's okay. Better.
Yeah, much better now. Much better.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned just now as well the acquisition of a majority stake in GetPaid, which is an e-commerce company. So, how does this fit with the whole iCreate? Because iCreate is an educational institution, and you now have this new mergers and acquisition strategy. Tell us about the overall vision for iCreate and how GetPaid fits with that vision.
Yeah, so GetPaid is focused on e-commerce. As you know, e-commerce is not just payments, right? But it's an entire ecosystem around connecting with your customers in an electronic format in a digital space. iCreate is big on digital. We're the exclusive provider of digital marketing, digital social selling courses across the entire Caribbean through our partnerships with the Digital Marketing Institute, Code Fellows, and so forth. So when you look at a company like GetPaid that is creating these different opportunities for businesses to transform digitally, it fits well with iCreate, so sorry about that. So when we look at that, we want to, plug in a company like GetPaid because it enables us to not just offer training for small businesses that are customers of GetPaid and so forth, but powering their success and creating a long-term relationship. So we're excited about that, a long-term relationship with the CEO and the board members and so forth in different ventures before. And we're looking to integrate that properly. That started already. The growth of GetPaid is phenomenal at what we're seeing on a quarter-by-quarter basis. And we have some very new and innovative plans for GetPaid in the e-commerce space that we'll announce at a later date.
So speaking of mergers and acquisitions, what
Yeah.
other mergers and or acquisitions are you considering?
Well, I can say for the first time publicly that, iCreate has signed a sales agreement to acquire 100% of Visual Vibe Limited, which is the largest digital outdoor advertising company in Jamaica. It's been around for 15 years. We've signed the agreement to acquire that company. We have paid the requisite deposit based on the sales agreement. And we're very excited about this because this is going to change iCreate. It's a game changer. It is helping to fulfill our vision and mission of becoming a creative group of companies, a creative conglomerate. Visual Vibe will add significant value to what we're doing here at iCreate. The revenue is phenomenal. Even through COVID, it didn't decline really. It's extremely profitable. I can't give the details of that. They'll be disclosed in subsequent communication. But the profit is the profit margins in this company is above 35%.
Nice.
The free cash flow is one to, it's you'd be amazed by the free cash flow, the low receivables, the low payables, the compliance. It's a very stable business, owned and operated by Ali McNabb. We know he's retiring, and it's a company that we've had in our purview a couple of years now, funny enough.
But what is it? Visual Vibe. So the name sounds familiar, but tell me what they do.
So, when people ask me, when I'm having conversations privately with the board and so forth, the first thing I say to them, do you know that screen in Alpha Tree that everybody watch the Olympics and World Champs on? And they say yes. And I say, okay, that's Visual Vibe. And Visual Vibe have over 13 locations island-wide. It's digital billboard advertising. It's right up our alley. And it's competing with some of the other big players, the iPrint, Caledonia Outdoors, and so forth. But it's one of those big players within the market because of the location. So when you look at the Mandela Park location in Alpha Tree, that is big. We're talking about the location right on Oak Road and Arden Road, across from right where Ronnie Williams Entertainment Center is. That's a massive location. We're talking about New Kingston, right at NCB and Trafalgar and Knutsford. That's a massive location. Coming down Knutsford Boulevard, there's 2 more locations. They're in Montego Bay, in Mandeville, in Ocho Rios, in St. Catherine. So, big coverage, big business. It will change iCreate. We're very excited about it. We've been working, on it for the last, probably 9 months, and we'll be funding the purchase of this company, or closing on the purchase of this company via our rights issue that we announced that the board has considered recently, and we've also signed Visual Vibe. We've also signed VM Wealth as broker, agent, listing agent for the rights issue, and PMH will be our legal advisor. So it's full speed ahead on that.
So when is that rights issue expected to come about?
Well, we're going to put out a notice maybe by Monday about the date for the rights issue, but it's a minimum 2 weeks notice.
So it's right around the corner. It's coming up.
It's right around the corner. We're moving aggressive to close on this deal because I want to integrate it within iCreate. We've identified, additions to the team that will bring great value. But as I said, feel the vibe. We've been hinting at it. Feel the vibe. Feel the vibe.
Feel the visual vibe now, huh?
Feel the visual vibe now, right? It's going to it's going to bring great stability to iCreate, and the way we've structured it, and the way VM Wealth has been working with us to structure this transaction. I think the shareholders are going to be very, very excited about it.
So can you disclose the purchase price for Visual Vibe?
At a later date, but it will bring us to the max of what we can raise on the junior market for sure. As you know, the maximum you can raise in terms of capital is 500 million, and I believe iCreate has raised about over 200 million already. So I guess that can give an idea, but it will take us to the max. But we've gotten good value for it. If you look at Visual Vibe on its own as a company that would go public, it would be oversubscribed like some of the other recent IPOs. It's a very attractive company. I'm very happy that Ali and his and his partner Natalie Matnab have decided to work with iCreate on this acquisition, because they've gotten a lot of offers, a lot of interest for it. But we're connected, the energy was right, the vibe was right, and we're doing this. So we're very excited about it. We're very excited about it.
Right. So somebody said, please make the rights issue price nice. And someone
For
else
sure.
also commented, remember what rights issue means. It means that you have to be an existing shareholder in the company, right, Tyrone?
Yes, definitely. So, for those who want to participate and would like to, become a part of the movement, we definitely recommend jumping in, buying iCreate. You have to become a shareholder. You have to be a shareholder at a certain cutoff point also in iCreate to be able to participate in the Visual Vibe acquisition. As you know, rights issue are, they vary in terms of structure, but most times it's offered at a discount of the current market value. And as you know, iCreate in Jamaica right now is the best performing stock on the market in terms of percentage increase year to date. I think it's over 400% today. 300%, maybe 400, I'm not sure. But it is the best performing stock in the country right now. And with this Visual Vibe, I think people will be even more excited about what we're going to be doing at iCreate moving forward.
Yeah, as you speak of the stock price, because their stock price had just stayed flat for a long time. It was in the 80 cents region for so long.
At one point, it was 50 cents.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now that you have not only recovered, but you're almost at $4 today. I see close today at $3.92.
Yes.
What do you have to say to people who, maybe didn't have the patience or didn't believe in the vision?
Well, I would
you
say
took a lot of slack. You took a lot of heat, especially on Twitter.
Yeah, we took a lot of heat. We got a lot of pressure. It was very tough for me, to be honest. For those who did not believe initially, I would say there's still time to come back. We would love to have everybody back in terms of shareholders in iCreate. Now it's unfolding. People invest for different reasons, so we're not necessarily bitter as it relates to that. Some folks probably didn't have they weren't planning to invest that long term, so they decided to get out. But we're happy for those who stay. When we listed iCreate, we had 800 odd shareholders. Now I believe we have over 1,400. So the shareholder base is still expanding, right? And I want to speak to those that believe, really, to say, thank you for always supporting myself, iCreate, and the things that I want to do. Like, we have some very ambitious plans for the company, and this visual vibe really is just the beginning. As a company, it's just the beginning. Some of the things that we're looking to do to build out this vision of being a creativity. As someone asked just now, to say if this was always a plan. My foundation from day one in 2008 was always around digital. It was always around the creative economy. So what iCreate is becoming today is not a change in terms of my mental space of what we want to do. I think the difference is that we have the team that supports my vision. And when I say the team, I'm talking our board of directors that is fully behind me in terms of what we want to see iCreate become. There's no hassle there. There's no back and forth there. The board is on board. The board is on board. No pun intended. We're there. They want to work with me. They support the vision. They want to see iCreate become that. And I think that's the most exciting and interesting thing to note here. It has given me all the fuel that I want, that I need to really do what is necessary.
Well, congratulations to you, Tyrone. Very happy to see the turnaround. And you heard it here first, viewers. Breaking money news. iCreate acquiring Visual Vibe. It's 100% complete.
100%. The notice is on our investors section on our website. I uploaded it a little bit before. And I believe it's on the stock exchange website also, but definitely on the investor section of iCreate website, iCreateEDU.com. It's there on the investor section.
Let me leave with a final question from one of our viewers. This question comes from Javon Russell, and Javon wants to know, are there any plans to diversify iCreate outside of digital features in, say, construction, real estate, tourism, among others?
Javon wants us to take over the world. But we're focused on the digital and creative economy. We've announced the Creative City some time ago, where we're really building out infrastructure for the digital and creative sector. Studios, conference rooms, co-working space, museums, and all of that. It's pretty much still very active. But outside of that, we've taken a stake in a real estate project, which is a project I'm involved in personally, but iCreate has taken a majority stake in it, just to really get in terms of the experience, building some track record and so forth that will propel us closer to the creative city, because it's a more ambitious project and so forth. But that residential project, which is in Discovery Bay, is very it's one-off. We don't plan to play in any residential real estate space. It's going to be all creative city, all commercial, and we're working on some deals there. Nothing material as yet, but we're still at it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Tyrone, and congratulations once again. We are all excited for this news. We look out for the rights issue coming up just around the corner. All the best to you.
Thank you very much, Kalila. Congrats again. All the best to the team, and thanks everyone that tuned in. So we'll talk tomorrow.
You.
Yes, take care.
All right. So, Tyrone Wilson announcing their 100% acquisition of Visual Vibe, which is an outdoor advertising agency, the company that has all the big billboards, the digital billboards in Halfway Tree, where you go watch the Olympics and all these things. They have, he said, 13 spaces island-wide, 100% acquisition by iCreate. And they also have a rights issue right around the corner. So, let's get on with the show. As I mentioned at the start, it is our second birthday tomorrow. Actually, June 29 will be our anniversary. And so we have a little giveaway for you. And this was done at random. We chose one of our viewers, one of the persons who was commenting in the chat. And the winner is Raquel Francis. Congratulations. Raquel Francis is the winner of our prize. You win some KRM merch and some other niceties. I'm not sure what the producers have in store for you, but we have a lot of those things around here that you can take advantage of. So contact admin, ADMIN, at KalilaRayMedia.com. We're going to type it at the bottom of the screen in just a few for you to collect your prize. Admin at KalilaRayMedia.com to collect your prize. Congratulations to you, Raquel. And for the rest of you, take our poll question for this week. You can comment below, and you can also, go on Twitter or YouTube to take the poll. Here's the question. How satisfied are you with JTrader Pro? JTrader Pro being the JSC's online trading platform, of course, and we saw stuff, last week with the Dollar Financial IPO. So it works for me. Too many glitches, dash it away. Needs competition or not applicable, I use something else, or you can choose other and leave a comment. How satisfied are you with JTrader Pro? And hopefully, depending on the results, the Jamaica Stock Exchange sees your feedback and takes it into consideration. Well, up next, we've got your market recap, and the analysts are standing by.
This segment of Taking Stock was brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency. Insurance made easy and...
Download today. Register using your existing NCB online banking login credentials. To open an account or get more info, contact our Wealth Hub today.
Scotia Elevate is a new life insurance plan from Scotia Insurance for the big thinkers and go-getters. Stay protected with up to $12 million in life coverage and up to $6 million in accidental death and dismemberment. Plus, enjoy customized investments to help build your net worth. Learn more at jm.scotiabank.com.
Time now for your market recap. The JSE Combined Index advanced last week, gaining 1,300 points or less than 0.5%. 115 stocks traded across the main and junior markets for the week ending Friday, June 24, 2022. 66 advanced, 38 declined, and 11 stayed the same. 284 million shares changed hands on the Jamaican dollar market, valued at over $1.8 billion. Dollar Financial was the week's most traded stock, taking up more than half of market volume. People bought and sold nearly 149 million shares in the company. The stock opened this week at $2.78. Trans-Jamaican Highway traded the second highest volume. People bought and sold 21 million shares in the company. The stock opened the new week at $1.51. And the JFP rounded out the most traded, taking up almost 4% of market volume, with 10 million shares trading. The stock gained 4 cents to open this week at $1.53. Now let's see who had the biggest gains last week. Siboney Group led the pack. The stock's price more than doubled to open Monday at $1.59. AMG Packaging and Paper Company is up 23% to open this week at $4.81. And 138 Student Living Variable Preference was up 22% to open the new week at $20.75. On the losing side now, Main Event was last week's biggest loser, down 11% to open Monday at $7.02. MPC Caribbean Clean Energy was the second biggest loser, down almost 11% to close last week at $96.01. And T-Tech was down almost 10% to close last week at $3.16. Over on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, the composite index declined last week, losing 13 points, or about 1%. Massey Holdings was the most traded stock. It opened this week at $5.01 TT. Unilever Caribbean was the market's biggest gainer, up almost 9% to open this new week at $13.98 TT. And on the losing side, NCB Financial Group fell almost 7% to open the new week at $5.25 TT. Over in the US, the markets rallied last week with the Dow Jones up 5%, the S&P 500 up almost 7%, and the Nasdaq up 8.5%. Over at the pumps, motorists saw a slight dip in wholesale gas prices, which fell by 25 cents a litre. However, the cost of diesel went up by another $4.50 a litre. In foreign exchange, it took an average $151.89 Jamaican to purchase $1 last Friday. Bitcoin rose 6% in the past 5 days, trading at $21,177 on Monday, while Ethereum rose almost 16% in the past 5 days, trading at $1,213 on Monday. This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, is brought to you by Jamaica Money Market Brokers.
All right, welcome back. Let me take some of your comments right now from the viewers. Let me see your reactions. And I saw a lot of very positive and excited reactions from our viewers. So let me take some of the comments, see what you guys have to say. O'Shane says, well done to you, Tyrone. One of the greatest feelings in the world is when investment analysts write you off and you prove them wrong. Raquel Francis says, KRM, boss it again. Anniversary, very nice financial news at its best. Yes, a birthday present for us because we get to do some breaking money news, and give you the exclusive news. Derby County says, did Tyrone say info about the rights issue will be available next week, Monday? He said that they're hoping to have it out by about Monday, so very soon. Not hard and fast next week, Monday, but they are aiming for that. And then Dane says, I have iCreate shares from 50 cents. Good for you, Dane. So when it hit that low, you found the right buying opportunity, 50 cents, and now you're almost at $4. So good for you, Dane. Jason McKenzie says, iCreate is an eye-opener for me. I wonder in what way for you specifically, Jason. And then Roswell says, iCreate is one of those companies that took many by surprise. It shows us patience is worth it when buying companies you thought would not perform. And then we have another comment from Raquel who's saying, thank you, money makers. Like up the video. Yes, here is your reminder to hit the like button. Like the video there on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching. Let's make it an even happier anniversary. Thanks, Raquel. See, I love my viewers. You guys always look out for our best interest. I like that for us. Thank you very much, Raquel. Everybody go hit the like button. Well, it is time now for the analyst segment, and I'm joined by investment research and sovereign risk analyst at JMB, Leovani Dillon, and financial coach, founder and CEO of Profit Jumpstarter, Keisha Bailey. David is under the weather today, so no David tonight. Hope you get well soon, David, and we'll have him on again, another time. But welcome, Keisha, and welcome, Leo.
Thank you for having me. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. All right. So before we get into our topics for tonight, you guys just heard some exclusive breaking money news from iCreate. Leo, what do you make of Tyrone's announcement that they have this acquisition coming up? They've pretty much signed on the dotted lines. They have a rights issue coming up. Your reaction to that, Leo?
Yeah, man, it's good. Well, based on what he's saying about the, it's a profitable company, good cash flows and all of that. So it should be a net positive for the company. Of course, the details is always best to see how much it's actually worth for the company in terms of to nail down a price. But I mean, based on what he has presented, it is good. Looking at the company overall, it's in a better position, more capital in, which of course helps stabilize the company. So I mean, all in all, it's doing better. It's doing a lot better.
And Keisha, for you, what do you make of it?
My take on acquisitions usually are, is it going to be accretive to the bottom line? Meaning, will we see more profits because of this? So the proof is always in the details. Based on what Tyrone was saying, it does indicate that it will be accretive, which is good because the profits is what will move the share price. And then we'll see that moving tomorrow because of that. And with the rights issue, that's always another good opportunity. I personally prefer rights issues over APOs because they're not dilutive. You still get to keep your share of ownership. So looking very good. I like the strategies. they sound pretty solid. I always have on my analyst hat, and it's making a lot of sense to me. And I see dollar signs, so make a lot of sense for me based on what he shared.
All right, thanks for that input. Now let's look at a couple of things that are going on. The lab is a company that we always have our eye on to see how the lab is doing. It has historically done very, very well since their IPO. I always remember the lab is one of the first companies that I really, when I was just starting this journey 2 years ago and a little piece. And here we are 2 years later. The lab is, doing very well. Well, let me have Leo tell me how they're doing exactly. Their Q2 financials are out. What are the highlights?
All right, so if I could share my screen for a minute here, I would. Okay. All right, so we're looking at the Q2, right? So their Q2 ended April 2022. You're seeing that revenue is up in the region of about 20%. So that's good. Revenue about 28, almost 29%. So that's good. Gross profit up right here. You can see that's also good. Key point to know here is that the gross profit margin is actually higher. So it's 39%. That's way higher than it was for the same period last year. In fact, I think this is the highest for the company in any Q2. So it's a good look, right? But when you go all the way down to the profit, you can see profit is up, but it's up 19%. So that's less than the revenue growth. The key reason for that is because of what's happening in the finance income line. So you can see it was about 8 million last quarter Q2, and then now this Q2 it's actually a loss. The primary reason for that, if you look on the audited numbers, you realize that a big part of their finance income comes from forex change. So over this quarter, you actually see a decline. If you look at the point-to-point US dollars, and like at the end of April, and then you go back 3 months and see where it was, you realize that there's a decline there. So that's likely to be the reason for this decline here. So that's part of the reason what's probably going on there for them. Now, when you look on the balance sheet, now this is actually pretty good for them. So you look on the balance sheet overall, one of the key things to note here is that the cash and cash equivalents is actually at 455 million. So that's about 46% of the total assets of the company is in cash and cash equivalents. So that's setting them up brilliantly in terms of the stability of the company to have this much cash. So of course that opens up a lot of opportunities for them. So whether it be increased dividend, whether it be acquisitions, whether it be investment in new business lines, they have a lot of room with this cash. Whether it be the fact that, of course, we're talking about the potential for recession, they have the cash to weather that. So that's very strong for them. Matter of fact, when you look at their current ratio, I think that's over 3 times. You're looking at the debt to equity, it's like under 0.2. So overall, the balance sheet structure this one is really good. The loans on the book is basically non-existent. It's like $9.9 million. With loans about $10 million. With the primary debt, well, it depends how you classify it, but based on a stricter classification, since the primary debt load on the company is really just the lease liabilities. Because of the change in accounting standards, it technically classified as debt, but yeah, but looking outside of that, is very strong. So then when you look on the cash flow statement now, that's also strong. So operating cash flow, 98 million versus 75 million for the 6-month period. So that's looking better. So you still see that cash coming in for them and it's improving. And then when you look on other things for them here, so the dividend amount that they paid so far is actually lower for this 6-month period versus the 6-month period last year. So that's 69 almost $70 million paid out. This time about 48.5 million. So a little behind on that. Now let's see what that means for the performance of the stock. So year to date, the stock is actually down 29%. So they're not looking so hot year to date. And if you compare that to the overall junior market, that's a big lag. The junior market overall is about 25%. Right now, where you can see the real breakdown occurred was after the Q1 numbers. Now, after the Q1 numbers, what you saw happening is that revenue was up in Q1, but profit was actually down 1.2%. Part of the reason for that decline was again weak numbers coming in at the finance income line item, and also gross profit margin was down a bit, not big, but it was down a bit. So those kind of things impacted them. So you can see that the pace to the downside for the company was around about 10% at that point. And then it kind of spiraled down more following. So even after these results, which I think were fairly good results, you still actually see it moving incrementally lower So it's kind of like the sentiment kind of turn on this one. But again, as I said before, the numbers are looking good, which I think is more important in the long run. Now, when you look on the stock price, of course, you can see that, of course, it listed around here, shot up big time, and then now you can see towards it, it's trading off a big here, which is where it is currently. And then now, when you look on the performance over the scope since it's been listed, right? So you can see the year it was listed. So when it was listed in July 2019, it did very well in that month. And of course, you know how these, how IPOs tend to move in the early listing period. So it did very well that year. Not so hot in 2020, it's about flat, and then 2021 did fairly well, but then now, of course, is seeing that pullback in 2022. Now, to give you an idea of the value traded on this company, to see how, what's the activity like, right? You can see that the activity is around $500 million trade on an average day in 2022. That's a lot lower than previous years, but again, the year is still young, but it's a lot lower than previous years where you've seen trading up to, 2019 was very active. Of course, that was the year it was listed, almost $1.7 million trading in any given day. And of course, that's kind of faded over the years. Now, these charts towards the end here now, giving you a good point of what's going on here. Now, when you look at the valuation, so when you're looking at the PE of this company now, you're seeing the PE around 15.6 times. That's a lot lower than the average that you've seen over the last year or 3 years, right? So it's getting real cheap here. Matter of fact, you can see well, it's not really quite there, but it's getting to those levels that we saw when you had like a big sell-off occur, early COVID, March 2020, got a big sell-off, and you see the valuation kind of getting back to those levels. It's really cheap on that mature. And then fast forward here on the book value, it's price to book is kind of showing a similar trend in terms of how persons trading it on a valuation basis, right? So, so that's it for the slides here. So when you look at it overall, bigger context, you can see that persons are not so interested in it right now in the market, especially compared to the overall junior market. However, I think it could give an opportunity, because if you look on the valuation, if you look on the balance sheet, the position that they're in, and if you look on the track record of actually producing good returns for shareholders in terms of revenue growth and profit growth. Matter of fact, this company revenue grew straight through COVID, right? At least in the Q2, straight through COVID. No, it's like it didn't really stop, right? So, I mean, overall, it is a good company. It's in a very solid position. Even if there's some hiccups, as I pointed to, they have the balance sheet to weather that. So I think this one's getting interesting.
Very interesting indeed to see the lab's performance. And yes, that was one of the things we did note, that even through COVID, they seem to be not only unaffected, but positively affected, because they maintained and grew even throughout COVID-19. And you mentioned something important, Leo, that the price is not where it used to be. So possible opportunity here.
Mm-hmm. And it's a big disparity. You can see the junior market up big, it's down big, so you're seeing like a 50+% underperformance. So yeah, it's creating some interesting opportunities.
And just to remind you, viewers, that this is not intended as investment advice. This information is for educational purposes only. Please consult your licensed financial advisor before making any decisions regarding investment, and JMB has some great ones, right, Leo?
Yes, it does.
Your team is good over there. So let's look at the U.S. markets. If you're paying attention during market recap just now, you saw that there was a rally right across the board last week, and I believe into early this week as well. Keisha is our point person on the U.S. market. She always has the updates for us. What's going on over in the States, Keisha?
Well, main thing, the rally was short-lived because today we're back down again. So I wanted to just provide an update on the volatility of the U.S. market. It is 2022 has been an extreme year of volatility. It goes down in the record books as being extreme. What happened last week is that the Fed hiked interest rates 75 basis points. After that, the U.S. Consumer Sentiment Report came out, and that had one line of positive information in that consumers thought that over the long term inflation would come back down to about 5%. That one line it was just an inkling of good news. And so the market rallied for a couple of days based on that. That short-term rally is what we refer to as a bear market rally, meaning the market is still down, but we have a short-term reprieve for a couple of days. It doesn't mean that we're out of the woods. It's just a nice short day of uptick, but we're back down again today. Hence the whole volatility, because the backdrop is still negative. We still have high inflation. We're still struggling with oil prices being higher, still struggling with interest rates going up across the entire world, and still Russia-Ukraine war not going anywhere. So until any of those goes away, we're still going to have this ongoing talk about recession in the US. And of course, recession in the US means contagion to the rest of the world. So still not out of the woods. We've had a couple of days of the 2 days of the market going higher, but that's again referred to as a bear market rally. Doesn't really mean that things are going to get better from here. I'm gonna just share my screen to go into the info. So here is this was last week Thursday. The major index in the US, the Dow Jones, rallied 800 points. So nice day after we had the prior week when the market was down. So the week before, major downturn. Last week up, but it's back down again this week. So there are ways, as I said, you can play this whole range, as they call it, play the range, and you're able to make money on the up and the down. But for long-term investors, this would not be a nice buying time just yet, because we're still struggling with all of those headwinds in terms of the inflation, higher interest rates, oil prices, and the war, and also the supply chain problems that are coming because of the Chinese lockdown. So not a good backdrop, and kind of just wait and see in terms of long-term investing.
So what was causing that little rally last week then? What was giving in? I don't know if it was optimism. You tell us what happened.
The US Consumer Confidence Report came out, and the report was negative, but there was one line in the report that said that consumers are starting to think inflation will eventually go back down.
Yes,
that one line created a rally, because investors now are just really desperate for any positive news. So that one line was taken as some sort of positive news, and people started buying up stocks. But back down again, that news has worn off, and everybody's back now to selling and panicking.
You did say that. I guess I just had a senior moment and forgot you said it. So thanks for repeating it for people like me who, my attention span is all over the place sometimes. But thank you for that update. What about crypto? What's going on with crypto this week?
Crypto winter still chilly. Still chilly there. The Coinbase, like I said, laid off about 80% of its workforce because things are tricky. But one thing I've been noticing based on my research is that a lot of the large institutional investors in the US have been buying up cryptocurrencies. So they slowly have been buying into this sell-off, because remember, with cryptocurrencies, there's a limited amount available. And so some investors who are seeing more long-term and looking at the adoption of cryptocurrencies, they're using this as a buying opportunity.
When you say large investors, who are you talking about?
The large banks in the US.
Banks. And that gives it more legitimacy too, because if the big banks are investing in crypto, that tells you that they see a future in it.
And if they see a future in it, there's a future in it. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Keisha. Thank you, Leo, for your analysis this evening. Much appreciated.
All right. Take care.
To watch. Keep your eyes open, everyone. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will take some of your final comments, and reminding you to hit the like button if you haven't.
This segment, the Analysts, was brought to you by Jamaica Money Market Brokers.
Hey, money makers, you're not an official part of the family until you have your merch. Visit KalilaReynolds.com/store to order your t-shirt and your mask today. Let's get this money. And we're back. All right, so let's take a few comments from the viewers. Diane Carol Johnson says, congratulations, Kalila and team. May you continue to grow in leaps and bounds. God bless you and your team and all your endeavors. Looking forward to many more years of greatness. Thank you so much, Diane. Much appreciated. A strong link wanted to know if KP Reads APO is oversubscribed. Yes, it is oversubscribed and closed. I saw some people complaining about the communication, but we mentioned it in What's Hot in Business. Yes, it was oversubscribed, and you can check jamstockex.com/news for information on that and other things. And of course, make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter as well, KalilaReynolds.com/newsletter for news that comes out every Wednesday and Sunday. That's when our newsletter goes out, so that you can catch all this type of news. Javon says, I think you should do a show that just focuses on analyzing company financials and how to choose good companies. Also, please bring in Purity. Would love to hear from them. Every single week, Javon asks about Purity. So maybe it's something that we need to get on. Why are you so interested in Purity, Javon? Every week you want to know about Purity. So a show just focusing on analyzing financials. All right, something to consider. There are also other shows. You should check out Learn, Grow, Invest. Remember, they were on our program a couple of weeks ago. They do that. Us Randy's show, earnings season. No, what do I call it? No, Brick Talk. They're also on YouTube. They analyze shows. Their show is on every Friday. So there are other people who are doing this kind of thing, Javon. So you can look out for them as well. Strong Link says, time to look at bonds, folks. Opportunities are appearing there. Downside risk should now be lower than upside potential. So yeah, bond market, since interest rates are up, the bond market is a place to look if you are looking for a more conservative type of investment. And then Strong Link again saying, Cal, I believe the analysis done on companies needs to be more concise in order to cover more companies each week. What do you guys think about that? Do you think we should make it shorter? I actually like the detailed analysis so that we have more information to guide us. So what do you think? Should we do longer analysis, fewer companies, or shorter analysis, more companies? Let me know in the comments. So he says, highlight key points and move on. He says he tends to tune out with too much verbiage. I actually think Leah did a pretty good job just now with the lab. I was sitting back, relaxing, watching his charts and hearing his explanations. But let me know what the rest of you think in the comments below. So thank you for joining us this week. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with a friend. And like I said at the beginning, you can subscribe to our newsletter at KalilaReynolds.com/newsletter, reminding you that new email subscribers get a copy of my free broker guide, and turn on those post notifications so that you can be the first to see everything that comes out on the channel. We want to help people learn more about money so we can all get this money together. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Kalila Ray, and follow at KRM_business news on Instagram. And remember, these are my only platforms. I don't have any other fake one, no backup account. It's just these ones, at Kalila Ray all over social media, and at KRM_business news on Instagram. If you want to connect with the analysts this week, check the description box below for their contact information, and visit our website, KalilaReynolds.com, for financial information you can use however you like it. Watch, listen, or read. Now tell a friend about taking stock. Investing is the new sexy. So let's make it cool to talk about money. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Let's get this money.
Let's get this money.